Come. Hey, how's it going? I wanted to share a couple things that I learned about lawns. So we moved to this property back in April of 2022, and this whole area was just like dirt and weeds, and it was kind of a mess once we moved in. And it was like the spring, and it was raining, and the leaves were, or the weeds were like up to our like hips, and we, didn't really know what to do in terms of like maintenance of the property. Fuji was just getting so dirty coming outside and then inside and outside and inside. He was muddy. It was like tracking everything into the house. So we had to kind of clean up this back area in an efficient and inexpensive, or not inexpensive, but in a cost effective way. And one thing that the whole reason why we purchased this property was for Fuji. He's a Shiba Inu, and he needs a lot of room to run and play. He's got a lot of energy. So one of our big priorities was having like somewhere for him to play, and also something that would help with all of the dirt and stuff that he was tracking into the house. So we did decide to put in this like large lawn area for the time being, because we looked into several options. We looked into like artificial turf, which was just so expensive because they have to dig down like 6 inches, and then they have to put like a base, and then they have to tamp it down, and then they have to put like another layer, and then they have to add drainage, and then the cost of the materials for the turf. And then one of the big issues that we came across was that it gets really hot. There's no shade, there's really no trees over here. And in our research, we learned that if it's too hot, it can melt. And I even heard somewhere that they were installing sprinklers at like parks or something like that to like cool down the plastic of the turf. So we decided to install grass into this area for Fuji to have like a safe place where he can play. Also, this whole area was filled with foxtails, which are like these grasses that can get stuck in dogs' paws, and it can like send them to the hospital, and it's really bad. So our biggest concern was like getting rid of the foxtails and having like a safe and clean environment for him to play. So I know that there's a lot of alternatives, like you can put like clover, or like something um, like kind of like a ground cover or whatnot, but that was going to take a lot of time and research to figure out exactly what the best option was, and a lawn was just kind of the most practical for the time being. So in July, we had somebody install sod, which are um, like layers or rolls. They're rolls of grass. In time, it was really hot, and within a few months, it started dying. And we didn't know how to maintain a lawn because we had never had a real lawn before. So it was really sad, but it actually did die. And so I wanted to share a few tips that we've learned about caring for your lawn. So what we had done was we actually had to like rake up all of the dead grass, and that was around the end of summer, so it was like the beginning of fall. We had to rake everything up, and then we purchased some seed from Lowe's, and we just like sprinkled it, like broadcasted it all over this area. And then immediately what we realized was that the birds just came and ate all the seeds. So that was our first obstacle. And that's actually when I started kind of YouTubing and researching things about landscaping and gardening and that sort of thing. And I came across a couple videos. But I just wanted to share what I have learned about lawn care and growing your own lawn. So we had seeded it. And then the birds were eating it. And then what we did is we got like this, maybe I can find a picture of it, but it's kind of like a thing to you're supposed to put like a fourth of an inch layer of either like compost, or in our case, we did try the compost, but then the compost was just hard to like sprinkle over this large area evenly. And it's really heavy buying those bags of soil and putting it into your car for like this kind of size of a yard. So I got peat moss, and then I put it into this like spinner thing, and then it like evenly placed a nice little layer of that over the seed, and it actually grew really fast. And Fuji actually trampled all over it, and we still continued to play with him, and it actually grew. So I think the first step, or the first tip that I first, you rake the area, then you broadcast the seeds, then you add either like a fourth layer of compost or a fourth layer of peat moss evenly over the area, and then you have to water it in. And then you'll see like little blades of grass growing pretty quickly. And after a little bit of time, I put like another layer of peat moss, and I sprinkled another layer of the seed. And yeah, I actually think that this like area looks better than when it was the sod was installed. I'll see if I can find a picture of kind of like the creases that you can see and that sort of thing. And then the other thing that we did wrong was we didn't have a landscaper at the time, because we thought, hey, let's just do it ourselves. And so we weren't cutting it often. So what we do now is we do have a landscaper that comes every other week. Every other week I cut the grass with a little push lawnmower. And in terms of fertilizing, I've only really done it maybe 2 times a year with this like sprinkler fertilizer, because it does start to get brown as it like heats up in the summertime. So but yeah, I haven't aerated it. It's 2024. We started growing this seed in the fall of 2022. So I think it looks really good. It's definitely not a perfect lawn, but I'm proud of like what we've done for, kind of like the knowledge that we have. Good to know. We had priced out what it would cost um, to have somebody seed it for us, and we spent quite a bit of money just on the installation of the sod. So it was really like devastating and heartbreaking when it died. And a lot of people in this area, because it's so hot, they had said that like lawns just don't survive here. So I don't know if it's just that we're lucky. In the last couple of years it's been rainy. I don't know if eventually it will die, but we've had a really good it's been good since we've kind of planted it. But yeah, to install this, to have someone seed this area, it was around like $1,000 or something like that. So it's pretty easy to do if you just want to do it yourself. And I'm sure like it would be even easier if you had like a smaller area. But yeah, I'm going to show you what I do in terms of maintenance, which is not much. So I'm going to sprinkle some fertilizer, which actually I think is needed. I usually just fertilize things if I see that they're struggling and they are getting like brown and stuff. So, and then I cut it. I cut it every other week. So it gets cut every single week. I think that's another thing that is helpful, is if you like cut it once a week. Because if you cut it often, I think it grows better. So I hope that was helpful. So I don't know if you can tell, but it is getting like pretty patchy and brown. And the dark green spots, I think, is more from like the winter when Fuji peas on the grass. and it'll turn like a dark green. And then in the summertime, when he pees on the grass and like it doesn't get watered, it gets like these brown spots. But we don't care about having like a perfect lawn. It's just like good enough is fine for us. And look at our little cosmos that we planted. These are the seeds that we started, and they're looking so cute. Look at this one. This one's so cute. Okay, so I just got done cutting the grass, and so basically what we're doing is we do have a landscaper that comes once every other week to help us around the property with like miscellaneous things, like whatever needs to be done, like whether it be like weed whacking or the lawn, or like he'll help me plant things sometimes. He just comes for a set amount of time each each visit, and then he kind of asks us what we need help with, and then it's really helpful. And it's nowhere near enough to like maintain the property the way that it is. Like I've had to mulch this hill myself to help with the weeds, and I have to hand pull a lot of things because the labor and time it would take to do like hand pull things, it would just be astronomical, like the amount of time someone would have to take. So he helps every other week with cutting the grass, but it really needs to be cut every single week. So I just use the push hand mower. I don't have anything fancy. And then I get a little bit of an exercise, so it's a win-win. And then I usually fertilize it. Like I've been doing it twice a year, like once in the fall and once in the spring, with like that all seasons organic fertilizer. It's supposed to be safe for pets, but I've noticed that Fuji sneezes a lot when I do it. So I put him inside when I'm about to do the fertilizer. But when I pulled out the fertilizer, it looked like it got wet. So I'll probably buy another bag. I'll probably just get something a little bit smaller next time, so that it's probably more cost effective to buy the big bag in bulk, but I don't want it stored in my house where like the animals can get to it. And outside, we don't really have like any shed or any place to store things. So I'll have to pick up a little bag of the fertilizer. And the grass does need a little bit of nutrients because it gets really brown right around this time of year. So like I usually just wait until it starts looking a little shaggy, and then I'll add some fertilizer as needed. Other than that, I think you're supposed to do it like 4 times a year. Plus you're supposed to aerate your lawn, and you're supposed to do a lot of things to care for your lawn, but we're just kind of doing the bare minimum, and it's good enough for us and Fuji. So that's kind of what we do in terms of maintenance. And one day I want to look into like a drought tolerant ground cover or something more like sustainable or better for like water and that sort of thing. I just haven't exactly put my finger on exactly what I want to use. And so for now we have this lawn, but in the future, who knows? So I don't know if this, I hope that that was helpful. I know when I was devastated after our lawn died, I was just kind of looking online for all these videos, and people had like equipment and all these things, and I just thought it was a little bit unattainable, but it worked, and I'm actually really proud of it. Every time I come out here and Fuji's running around and playing in the yard, I just feel like good that I was able to do it. And I feel better to know that if something were to happen to our lawn again, that I could fix it myself. And so that's like a nice little feeling. And yeah, Fuji loves his lawn. So I hope you have a good day, and thanks so much for watching.